When Netflix announced they were bringing a live-action take on Avatar: The Last Airbender to their platform, fans of the beloved animated series were happy with anticipation to see what would they do.
Not everything is about preparing to fight.
We're at war.
Waterbending is what built our culture.
Would it capture the same magic that captivated viewers nearly 2 decades ago? No. Or would it fail harder than Mr. Knight movie flop?
It wasn't very smart. I was just upset.
After bringing the fresh adaptation first season, we have our answer. They are bright spots where you get glimpses of awesomeness that show the potential, but there are also plenty of head-scratching changes that have viewers feeling like Cash Man seeing his produce cart destroyed again. Let's break down the key highs, lows, because when you expect to feast on a multi-course meal only to get some reheated leftovers, it leaves your appetite disappointed. My name is Christian from Premiere, and let's begin. Okay, first up, one thing you cannot fault about the live-action take is the visual representation. The environment, costumes, and creature effects immerse yourself directly into the fantastical world of the four nations. Cities like the Northern Water Tribe capital truly feel alive on an epic scope fitting the saga.
I should have been lost 100 years ago. This isn't my time or my world.
When we see events like the genocide of the air nomads depicted on screen, it carries more emotional weight. The bending VFX is generally pretty good too, with combat serving up beautifully choreographed set pieces. The very first episode ignites hope by wonderfully recreating Aang's backstory. We see his playful airbending personality, the burden of being Avatar he feels unready for, and the strong bond with Guardian Monk Gyatso. It sets the stage nicely. But as you know, he then runs away. One of the many head-scratching changes that seem to understand core ingredients fans love, the look without balancing deeper flavors in the narrative recipe. Much of Aang's fallen hero journey lacks the charming humor and heartstring that define Avatar. Side characters like King Bumi get bizarre treatments, trading a lot for more bitterness. Prince Zuko stays complex, but others feel far more one note. We got characters like Saga and Katara, which they change a lot of those two characters. Lazy writing shortcuts to just the chef were focused on making money quickly instead of focusing on the food. Presentation over faithfully translating motivations that resonate. And the issue, which I have, is that rush pacing leaves no time to eat, to savor the series. It's no secret that even some hardcore fans of Avatar found the original series' episodic conflict of the weird structure a bit strange and walked slowly at first. So when the showrunner Albert Kim described their live-action approach as a remix, merging arcs into an intense drama focusing on being mature and character struggle, it was a compelling vision in a way, but after this, it feels strange. In theory, splicing juicy ingredients like Jed, Bumi, and as well Anomashu into a cohesive progression, merging them all of that together and adding the cave of two lovers into one episode felt like too much, because in the animated series we know that those are individual episodes, so why? But this progression allowing deeper exploration in fewer total episodes made no sense. The execution destroyed the recipe, each episode focusing on something completely different than the previous, and some plotlines along the way. In practice, the first season feels like less like Game of Thrones and more like a street food vendor that once is selling a ripoff of the original. You have seen it before, like it's cars and then like a bootleg copy of the original. It's just, this is how it feels like. So much condensed world building and a heavy exposition blasts you up front, then whips by so fast that dramatic moments feel unearned. The writing forced characters into conflict before we understand their bonds or the character itself. Great episode chapters from the source material are beyond recognition, now little resemblance to what made them great. Actually, one of my favorite episodes is when they go into the cave and we see the relationship build of Katara and Aang, and they change this completely. Instead of quality time with the core cast, stitching desperate threads into a cohesive journey, we move to new destinations greeted by plot device and really bad dialogue. scenes meant to inspire, show-stopping spectacle feels subdued and oddly horrible. While added elements like completely new spirit lore confuse more than intrigue, which I'm not gonna discuss. What could have been a cleverly reinvented saga honoring its roots while expanding the lore becomes a frenetic soulless that earned Avatar is following. The result leaves fans blue with a sour aftertaste, and is a wild sprint to bombard viewers with a constant plot progression. The Last Airbender shortchanges nearly every member of this impressive cast the chance to inhabit their roles. One-note acting performances result not from lack of talent, but a total failure to provide rounded scripts matching the original beloved character depth. Here's an example. Avatar Aang has no childlike charisma. He's portraying seriousness without balancing that together. The Aang of the animated series toggle between weighed down, hesitant savior and infectious beam of sunshine, often together. His positivity persevered against all the odds, but here, what? Here, actor Garden is handed no playfulness on page or screen besides that one small scene to present the character's soul. Sane, clunky dialogue under non-stop mental anguish, this Aang demonstrates none of his endearing humor.
Aang?
Again, this is not the fault of the actor. This is what the creators and showrunners wanted to do. Now moving to Katara and Sokka also display only the shells of their former multidimensional selves. The showrunners seemingly avoid signatures like Katara's mother, Sokka's sarcasm, and so on. The nagging sister and immature clown brother is not here. Yes, traces of the courage and loyalty emerge fighting against unworthy material, but with minimal room showcasing the emotional range or nuance beyond what some little paragraphs from their profiles might summarize. Zuko gets the most acting meat as the conflicted exiled prince. That's something that they work really well, but it gets lost. What results is a universe of vibrant individuals dueled into talking heads, taking turns, moving into the non-stop plot moves into focus elsewhere. We're informed what to feel about the relationship between characters that inspired devotion, but rarely experience the authentic bonds organically that earns it. With limp dialogue and little screen comforts for talents to find their footing, the live-action Last Airbender cast fantastic actors only to bind or blind their gifts, attempting to reinvent the story with endless interpretation risks, alienating fans no matter what. But the narrative detours, the arcs, and a lot of the contradictory characterizations that are in the Netflix live adaptation take confusing changes to disloyal extremes. They changed a lot of the lore, they brought characters early on, and they really changed the spirit world a lot. They brought elements from multiple episodes into one. They brought also elements from season 2 into season 1, which makes no sense. I know that they wanted to bring a new adaptation to the Netflix show, but it feels like they wanted to create their own, not really honor the animated series. But anyways, at the end of the day, Netflix live-action adaptation of Avatar is a frustrating mix of potential and terrible missteps. There's some elements that work. The expanded world building peeks into Fire Nation politics, intrigue, other scenes that they brought into the season that we have not seen before, that those works incredibly well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel conflicted. The boulder feels conflicted. That's how I feel. I feel conflicted about this show. I love the animated version. I don't love Korra, but I'm a fan of it. But this doesn't feel like something that I'm gonna rewatch. This doesn't feel something that I want to see. This is not something that I want to see the continuation of. So I don't really care if they do season 2 or not. Even though I'm a fan of the show, I want it to succeed, but why watch it when you have the animated version? But what are your thoughts on the series? Leave it in the comments below. My name is Christian from your Premiere, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.